You're listening to Style as Identity.
Yes, we're your hosts. I'm Frankie Ikwuazom.
And I'm Lola Catero. So, is starting a brand on your vision board?
Or do you just love fashion and want us to talk nerdy to you?
Either way, we got you.
Join us as we get into aspects of the trade that you might not find online. We're uncovering truths from the founders and designers daring to build within their vision and values.
These brands, they're shifting our understanding of the style status quo. And the more time we spend with them, the more we expect from what we wear and the brands that sell them.
So, we're glad you're here.
Let's do this.
Xiomara, we are so excited that you're here, truly. You all don't understand. We've been trying to hang out like this for, I think, since September or like October. So I'm so glad we all did this. We really wanted to spend time with you. And for everyone listening, Xiomara Rosa-Tedla joins us today. Xiomara, and we built on some of your words to keep this true to you, started UnoEth with her father, Muzeyen Tedla, in 2015 to bring us signature, truly one-of-a-kind, beautifully crafted, and handmade leather bags and home decor accessories that blend tradition with modern style, and also jewelry. Don't forget about the jewelry. So UnoEth means One Ethiopia and represents Xiomara's heritage. To us, it's also a call to meaningfully building community and equity globally by creating opportunities where there weren't any before. So Xiomara and Danye partner with artisans in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and also in Tanzania and other places too. We'll get into it. And it's truly special to have the familial connection. And that's why we want to spend time with you and just learn how deeply it drives your mission and what legacy you want to leave with UnoEth. So welcome, Xiomara.
I mean, thank you so much. What an intro. Oh my, I was like, who's she talking about? Oh, me. Thank you.
Yes, you.
She's not talking about me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yes. We are so happy you're here.
All right. So, Xiomara, about 10 years ago, your dad, Daddy Danye, I need to get it out. I got to get it out. Daddy Danye. I'm just saying it just like rolls off the tongue. You know,
that just threw me.
Sometimes you just got to say it. Okay.
No, you're not wrong.
You know what? I've been dealing with a lot of women sliding into our DMs asking about my dad. A woman even commented and said, I want to marry the dad and adopt the daughter, you know? So I'm used to this. Women are aggressive.
Look, I've seen the marketing photos. It's the hat.
The hat, the tattoos, the little poses that he does. I don't know where he gets it from.
He knows his angles.
GQ Africa.
I'm so glad we're here. Everybody, Xiomara's not up for adoption. No. So Danye went on a trip to Ethiopia to visit fam. He comes back to Oakland with a bag for you. You start wearing it around, coworkers, people on the train. Everyone's like, where can I get this bag? And you were like, you can't. And that inspired you to start UnoEth. So first off, tell us about this show-stopping bag.
This bag, it is our Tilak messenger bag, and it is as simple as you can think of it to be. Just a square bag with a flap, and it has a long adjustable crossbody strap. And it was perfect at the time because I commuted from Oakland to San Francisco every day for my corporate buying job. And it was perfect because I could be hands-free. I'm going from the train, the walking, like the hour commute there and the hour commute back. And this bag was great for work and went easily transitioned from day to night. Like you said, my friends kept asking me about this bag. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. You can't buy it from Nordstrom online. I don't know what to tell you. I told my dad, and he's like, babe, they keep telling me the same thing. Because he had the same bag in a different color. And he's like, we should start a business. And I'm like, sir, I am working a demanding corporate job. I'm styling on the side for Stitch Fix. I'm trying to buy a house in the Bay Area, which is competitive AF. And also planning a 200-person wedding. What time do you think that I have? A month later, 2 months later, it just got to a point where my friends started asking me, when's your dad going back to Ethiopia? Can we place a pre-order? And I'm like, okay. So that's when kind of the birth of this started. And we were sitting at a round table at my mom's house and talking over, what do we name this? And we thought of UnoEth because it means one Ethiopia, which kind of symbolizes my dad and I reaching back to our roots in Addis Ababa, becoming one with our heritage and the community there. And my dad went to Ethiopia with empty suitcases, and they came back with them full of leather bags. We dispersed them to the people who placed pre-orders with this non-existent company. And I started getting emails from random people. Oh, hi, I'm Shannon's sister. I was wondering if I could place an order for this bag, and I really love it. And I was like, okay, fuck it. Let's just set up a Shopify website. Let's do a little photo shoot. I have some photographer friends, and maybe a friend will model for me. And we officially launched February 2015, and we started very organically, just doing pop-up markets like every other weekend in the Bay Area. And we just grew through social media, word of mouth. And that was really kind of how we started. And thankfully, I was already had the background of being in marketing and as a merchandiser, a buyer. So, and for an online brand. So it kind of just married all of my experiences into this. And yeah, that's how we started 10 years ago.
As part of this theme, we're also talking to someone else in the Zal Studios who also started by accident. And it was a similar thing. I don't think it was like friends and family, but it was like people on social media. But when the people call, you got to answer. And I love that you and your dad were kind of fighting it, but then fell into, you're like, look, this is something that also aligns with like your mission too. And that brings us to our next question, which is like, you designed this in Oakland. It's handcrafted in Africa, the continent. And your partnership with artisans is a big part of mutual and collective growth, like both theirs and yours. And on your website, UnoEth.com, you feature Muzeyen Siraj, who works with a team of fellow artisans to craft a lot of your design. So when you met Muzeyen, he was excited to jump in right away, but he needed an export license and your dad helped him obtain one. And now he has clients internationally. So what's your relationship way of work with these artisans? Where are they based? How many do you work with today? And how do you kind of move both of your goals along as you work together?
My dad met Muzeyen when he first bought the bag, when he was in Addis and in the Mercado, which is the market. And my dad had gotten his email, his contact information. And my dad told him, hey, like, we want to start this. We want to launch a bag line. And Muzeyen was very excited. He was working under somebody in a different shop, but he wanted to start his own. I think our initial purchase order was maybe like $1,500 or something like that. And he started in his mother's garage, similar to like how I started my 1-bedroom apartment. And we basically started our businesses at the same time through helping each other. And my dad helping our artisan partner obtain his export license, it's simply in the fact that he had to prove that we were sending him money for a purchase order and kind of like showing that this is an establishing relationship, establishing business for him to ship to the States. So that's kind of like how he got that export license, kind of prove like you actually are starting a business and this isn't just a front for something. I have no idea. And so over the years, we had to understand all the different, for me, how to import. I had to learn how to write an import entry form. And then it got to a point like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, this is way too much work. I'm on my lunch break at the customs department and not being able to get a hold of anybody. And so that's when you just got to hire somebody, right?
Because you were still working a full-time job.
I was still working at my job, and it was luckily just down the street, but I worked for a year and a half before I jumped in full-time because I basically would work 9 to 5:30 and then we'll commute an hour each way and then come back and then work from 7 to 10 on my business.
You were a year and a half working, doing this on the side, and your first hire came within that year and a half, and it was, what was that person's like role? What was that first hire?
A year and a half was me, because a year and a half into the business, me full time.
That's when you hired yourself.
Yeah, it was me. That's when I was just like, okay, we're making decent money at this point where I can sustain myself. And we launched a crowd fund and we obtained business funding through a business loan too. So all of those things, I planned it in a way like I had 6 months savings. So personally, so I can actually do this. And because I was like, I hate my job. I don't want to be working all these different things at one time. I felt like that kind of pulled my attention in different ways. So our relationship with our artisan partners were like brother, sister, because we went through so much together in terms of the growing pains of not having enough money, not having the bandwidth in terms of a team. He started just by himself, and then he upgraded to a different workshop size where he had 3 to 4 artisans working for him during that time. Then he moved into a much bigger one. Now he has about 24 artisans working for him, and he has a shop as well where they sell leather pieces as well. So this all happened when I moved into a different studio and then into a bigger studio. Then I started to have a team. So it was just like this beautiful kind of side-by-side growth that happened at the same time for both of us. And I think for me, when we first visited his first workshop, he had so much pride to show like his workshop and how he's grown. And that's when I had an aha moment about, oh, this isn't just about selling bags and like making money. This is about creating impact in places that didn't have that opportunity before and with people who look like me and share the same heritage. And that's where I feel like this ripple effect is deeper than just selling bags and people enjoying a classically styled leather bag. This actually means more to me.
I love that too, because we talk about doing a lot of things in community. I don't think we really talk about like building business in community as much. Like it feels like the minute we start having monetary goals or where it's anytime something like that becomes official, like it's kind of like we're on your path, I'm on mine, you're on yours. And based on what we were reading about what you do, like that's kind of what we were sensing, but we really hearing you talk about it really brings it to a whole other level of life. That is super cool. And if Muzeyen were the only one, that's still super impressive because his trajectory is super impressive now that he has like 24 people. But do you work with other people too in other countries?
We have in the past. We used to work with several leather crafters and artisan businesses in Addis. And for me, there was just a difference. It's kind of like when you start in a new relationship and, things are going great. And then like there's just a difference in expectations, especially from here and in a different country. Shoot, even in different cities and different industries, there's a different type of like expectation. And it was just started to become really hard to keep waiting and waiting and waiting. And then also just like a change in quality too. So kind of had to let those relationships go. And then some were kind of like capsule moments where we went to Tanzania and we went for vacation. We went to Zanzibar for a vacation. And then we met all these amazing artisans. And I was just like, okay, let me just bring some of this back. We created those relationships that way. And unfortunately, they're not in business anymore. So we don't have that. But it was a nice like intros, right? And then also in Malawi with Yewo Collective, with the jewelry that we brought in last year, which has been really great as well too, because I felt like a lot of our customers, they're like, okay, what else you got? You do bags. Okay, you do home decor. Like, what else is up your sleeve? I'm like, oh, I like jewelry too. So let's do this.
People want you to bring that quality to every other aspect. I love that. Okay. One last thing we're curious about, because you have some videos that you've posted about the process when Muzeyen and like his team are literally weaving the bags. How do their skills and what they specialize in and your skills and what you specialize in and your dad as well, like how do they complement each other?
And this is imposter syndrome. I'm getting over calling myself a designer because I feel like I'm not a designer. I'm like, well, bitch, you're really sketching and you're really drawing this and you're providing the dimensions and all the insight. You are creating something out of nothing. So yes, you are a designer. So I wanted to say I'm like more of like a conceptor, but no, I sketch out all the bags and I provide the dimensions and we scan it over and send it via email to our artisan partner, Muzeyen. He'll provide any type of feedback that he's like, girl, you crazy. We can't do like this dimension, maybe this or this kind of closure. You know what I mean? So he's the one actually crafting it. I can sew a button, not a bag, and maybe a patch or something like that. But I love how we collaborate in those aspects. And he loves to bring me different leather types or different fabrics that we can use and just like to elevate even more and more. And also provide feedback from customers too, because at the end of the day, like I want to make my customers happy and also just provide something that's super functional and that you're not going to not wear next year because it's out of style, right? Or something that's really classic and durable. And the bags that I see that my customers wear, I'm like, where have y'all been? Like, what have you guys been doing? Like, I don't know, but it's been 8 years and I still love this bag. And I'm just like, it warms my heart, seriously. So the creative process is just very collaborative. And then we land on final finishings and I just say approved. I want in these colorways and that's it.
I love how you're creating literal tech packs to ship over and you're like, I just don't know if I could call myself a designer.
I know. I'm trying.
I know when you said that, I thought you were going to say something else. Well, I'm not going to speak for Lola. I relate to this a lot, but where I stand, you are full designer mode.
I mean, it is relatable, but it's also important to be like, well, let's just call a spade and a designer.
Thank you.
So I love hearing about your journey with Muzeyen because you're siblings almost in your business ventures and that you grew up together with it. And that is so special. I'm sure you're on this like similar path. So you have things you can relate to each other on or commiserate. But then also if you have differences or things to work through, it's like you have these bonds that have united you and you just have so much more understanding, respect for each other.
Thank you. It feels like my brother. We've told each other via email, especially when times were hard. Like there was one time where we had, oh my God, October 2022. This was my year of like, I had a lot of corporate partnerships where they wanted to do like investor gifting or we did private label for Aisha Curry and her brand Sweet July. And we had this order come over. It flew over from Ethiopia, landed in DC. Then once it lands, it has to be trucked in. It can't be flown again. Things you learn when you're an importer.
Do you know why?
I have no idea. I think like once it lands, it has to go through customs and it's still not, oh, actually it cleared customs. I forget. I can't remember like what exactly the reason why is, but it just can't. And he needs to reach me before it flies up again. And so the truck was in Kern County, California, which is about 4 hours away from the Bay Area. The truck came to a screeching halt. The brakes sparked a fire on the truck. The entire truck went into flames, burned. That was $126,000 worth of product. And a majority of it was my clients. So that whole issue.
Did it come?
No, it was burned beyond recognition. And so him and I had to go through such a process to work with the trucking company to locate this. Like, oh, no, it's here. Oh, no, it's here. We're checking all these different things. Oh, we can't find it. File a claim. Then after I filed a claim with them, then I had to file a claim with my business insurance and then wait for all its sorts of approvals and hoops to just get money back and then win back my clients. And then thankfully they wanted to keep the order. So I just had to replace that. And so then with him, then there's a supply issue in the leather. So it was months and months and months and months of like not being able to receive like a big chunk of this order. So him and I have gone through a lot of things. And then even just with like how the economy is now and just the demand is a little lower than expected. Yeah, we definitely have had to hold each other's hands through the internet and just say, keep fighting. So that's the type of relationship that we've built now with our artisan partners. And I feel like I can't fail because it's bigger than me. Like this is not just about me and my livelihood. This is about other people who depend on me. Sure. And I'm grateful now that he has other clients and he has retail. So to keep him sufficient and afloat, that's the type of relationship you build over 10 years of business together.
How long did it take for you to file the claim and then recoup or realize some of that lost money back from your insurance?
So it happened in late October. We didn't find everything out until mid-November. And then I filed a claim with insurance with the trucking company. So mid-November, and then it didn't get processed until beginning of January. And then even with that, so the value was at $126,000. They only cover like the weight of it versus what the actual value is of it. So then that was only maybe $14,000. And that didn't even include like the shipping fee. And so then my insurance thankfully kicked in, but then I didn't receive that part until February, which is only part of it. And not even like the business income loss. That was just to cover the actual order, the cost of it, not the actual value. So I had to place that reorder. And then the business income loss came in monthly based on State Farm. So yeah, it was a process, and it probably took off like 10 years off my life. It was so much stress. It was so much stress, but I'm glad that's in the past. I feel the effects of it just kind of like ended, but that process took over a year to finally like settle.
Oh, yeah, that'll make or break somebody. Man, 4 hours away from arrival with the shipment.
4 hours.
Also, I have to ask, was the driver okay?
Driver's fine.
Okay.
Driver's fine, thankfully. No one was injured.
Good. Through UnoEth, you've been able to access other aspects of Ethiopia, whether it's your relationship with Muzeyen, but all these artisans, people, techniques, the terrain, you've been able to expand your relationship with your dad. And I love doing anything with my dad, but when it's something new, I feel like my relationship with him expands, and you're in business with yours. So how has this journey, what has it unearthed for you and your own ancestral lineage and relationships?
My dad is one of my best friends. My parents are my best friends. I'm an only child, and I'm really, really close with them. And my dad is a retired college professor. So he was a college professor for 30 years, and he had a schedule Monday through Thursday, 9 to 1, like da, 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 da. And I came from a corporate background, and it's like things are due yesterday and I need things done right. And like I'm type A, but with like a type B attitude.
I call that a type A minus.
Yes, yes. And so in the beginning, I had to mind how I was communicating with my dad. Like I couldn't talk like a direct businesswoman with my dad because he's like, hold on, little girl, like what is with the tone, or like what is going on? And so having to mind my communication and just learn about each other, because my dad is coming from a different background and so am I, and we're doing something together, and me having to explain why I want this done, as opposed to like one time, like one of our former artisan partners didn't have our purchase order done when he went to go like check on it or pick it up back in the early days. So he decided to bring just a bunch of random different bags instead so that we can have things to sell. He comes back and I'm like, Dad, this is not on brand with who, like our aesthetic and our style. I don't even like this. How am I supposed to sell this?
He was just trying to do a job, and then
And he wouldn't communicate that because he was scared to disappoint me. I was like, sir, I would rather have a late order and you work with somebody else. Like we move this order to somebody else as opposed to like this person, like that. Don't give me this, like, I don't want to say junky looking bag, but this is not me. This is not my aesthetic. And so he's like, when you mentioned that this is not our brand, a light bulb. I was like, okay, got it. Understood. I had to learn to be patient, take a lot of deep breaths, and just have some understanding that this person, your dad, who's older than you, who raised you, like does not have retail background, does not have this kind of like knowledge that you do. Doesn't, just because you understand something doesn't mean that the other person's going to totally understand, pick it up as fast as you. But also, my dad is such great knowledge, and he is great in the sourcing and vendor relationships and like government relations, like because he taught political science, international relations. So he is an expert in that area. So whenever we had like any type of kerfuffle in Ethiopia, and like we couldn't say my artisan partner was late in shipping orders or wiring money, all the things, right? He has so many connections and so much knowledge in that area. So I lean on him still heavily in that area because he'll call my aunt, who low key is like mayor of Ethiopia because of all the connections that she has. One call to her and it was a wrap. Like it was done. So low key felt like a mob wife kind of situation. Not mob wife, but mob life. I was like, don't mess with her. Don't mess with her.
Yeah, strong arm. I love that you said that your parents are your best friends. I relate to that. I love my parents, my siblings, but it's like, just from describing this, it sounds like it's made you, if it was even possible to be closer, have an even deeper level of language and communication, how you work together. Like, I love hearing that because it's like you're already close, but this has expanded almost your understanding of each other in different ways. And honestly, it inspires me to, a lot of times I try to see my parents other than just parents. Like they're full human beings, right? They have skills, they have backgrounds, they also have their own parents, right? Like they have their own like memories that they carry. And just hearing how there's a lot of pride in the way that you describe your dad. And I can only imagine how much that would be reversed if you were talking to him about you. But that's just really cool that through something that like this, you've been able to kind of deepen how you work together and communicate.
What I love about that too is twofold. One, I think, I am with you. Being in corporate America has taught me to, I went to business school led by a certain type of leader, right? Like these are CEO leadership skills. This is how you talk to people to get results. And it's like, is that the only way that we should be treating people, right? Like, what is the real thing here? And your dad has this more like human approach, and it allowed you to rethink, like, is this the way we should be starting into business together? And especially in a relationship with him where our parents were safe with them. And it has this ability for us to try again.
Yeah. It totally unlocked like a totally different level of like father-daughter relationship. And the thing is, this was his idea, not mine.
It was his idea.
No, I wanted to just listen. I would just want to work corporate and work my little levels up, like stack 401k, like have my benefits. This was not my plan. And I think that is the funniest part, that how things started organically. Like I just launched a podcast a couple weeks ago, and I'm just like, I never thought I'd be a podcast. I've been a guest so many times like I am now, but like just how things in life happen organically and just unfold. And you just kind of say yes to it because it just keeps happening. And a lot of beautiful things happen when you just say yes. And even with the fear there, just fuck the fear. It's there, but it's there to teach you a lesson. And it's also there to kind of help you grow.
Well said. Also, what is your podcast called? We can't rush over that one.
My podcast is called So What's Even Happening?
What is happening?
Right. So it's with my accountability partner and I. Her name is Courtney Heron, and we're talking about creative entrepreneurship, personal development, and self-care. But it's like funny. It's like two Black creative women, and based on like how we just organically became accountability partners and how we've helped each other navigate life and our imposter syndrome or rotting because we need to rest, and our love for personal development just growing as individuals and how that's shown up in our businesses. So it's called So What's Even Happening. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube too. So it's been fun. A fun 2 weeks so far. A lot of planning, but as you guys know, this is a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. I'm like, let's just talk on the la 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 la. No.
Yeah, you're like, I just want to get on the mic.
No.
I love that though. I will be listening. We will be listening.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Let's real quick talk about Rebel Girls, like featuring your brand story in a book for young girls to see stories of their daughters and their dads. First of all, the illustrations were so beautiful.
I know. They were so spot on. I was like, how did she make this happen? Like the hat on my dad, the glasses, my hair, my dress. I was like, I got an email. All of these things happen from an email. HBO Insecure happened from an email. Everyone check your email and check your spam, okay? Because I actually missed an opportunity with Google in my spam box, in my Google email. That was so frustrating. Anyway.
From Google.
From Google. So we got an email from Rebel Girls, and it was like, hey, wanted to get your approval. We'd love to feature your brand story with you and your dad. We're doing this book with dads and their daughters, and it's coming out in right before Father's Day. And we'd love your approval. If so, please approve the attached artwork. And here's the story. Please only edit actual like numbers or spelling and factual parts. Don't like rearrange and that kind of stuff. I was like, wait, what? Okay. Never heard of Rebel Girls, but I saw they have a huge following on Instagram. And I saw they have all these other books that they have. I was like, this is so sweet. And so we sent the approval and it went to print. And the funny thing is, I totally forgot that it even happened. And I reached back out to them. I was like, hey, did this actually happen? This launch, we were supposed to receive copies. Oh, yes, it actually did. I was like, okay. And they sent over copies. And I'm looking through this like Rod Stewart, Dwayne Wade. I'm like, wait, this is cool. This is really cool. And for me, it hit home because it reminded me that my story is really impactful and really inspiring. And as much as I may not think it is because of imposter syndrome and because of whatever struggles I deal with internally, but that other people are watching and to keep doing good in the world. And however small you think you may be, you aren't. And that you really create a big impact.
Yeah, you are truly creating a legacy in real time. And it's inspiring everyone around you, everyone who read that, but also anyone who interacts with the work you do. So I agree.
That's beautiful. And I also love how buttoned up Rebel Girls was. Like they did all the legwork and they're just like, this is it. You just need to approve it or light tweaks as opposed to being like, hey, maybe like super solid way to get to execute. And then also little hilarious that they're like, oh yeah, that did go out. Do you want one?
I was like, thanks. Yeah, they sent 3 copies. And I mean, I like the way that they did it because it doesn't provide any back and forth. It's not going to delay any time. I was like,
yeah, try that.
Yes.
Like, we don't want to hear about it unless it's like critical feedback. You're like, okay.
And I asked them, I'm like, how did you find out about us? And they're like, oh, we looked you up online, or we just looked up online. I was like, okay, cool. Thank you, SEO.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, we love talking with you, Xiomara. What is an action our listeners should take right now to support UnoEth?
So many ways. You can follow us on Instagram, Threads. You can join our newsletter. We don't spam you guys a lot, I promise. One way to directly support is through a purchase. Our online shop, UnoEth.com, is open 24/7. We do free standard shipping. Orders over $50. I think the orders is like the most direct impact that you can create, because not only does it help my business, but it helps create more purchase orders that for us to submit over to our artisan partners, which helps their business and put wages in people's pockets. And thank you. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, this is great. We should do this again. Off the mic. Just
yeah.
So good to see you, Xiomara. Always good to talk to you, Lola. This has been the best. And we're so excited that we finally got to do this.
Me too. This has been so much fun. And thank you for letting me share my story. This is another way that people like you guys and platforms help small businesses like mine thrive.
Thank you for creating this story and sharing it with us.
It's been a journey, and it's very near and dear to my heart.
Bye.
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 Hey everybody, Lola here. Thanks for listening. Style as Identity is part of the Majority Group, which is focused on spotlighting and supporting the brands that make us feel seen. In addition to this podcast, we offer business and strategy advice to brands, have an investment arm, and more. Basically, we want to see you win and do what we can to make it happen. For more info on us, head to themajoritygroup.com. Love ya.